What is going on? I want to thank you for coming by to Vape with a Viking. So today I got something a little different for you. Pretty excited about this guy. We're going to be looking at the Doom X by, of course, Damn Vape. So definitely a huge shout out to Church of Vaping and, of course, Damn Vape. Basically, Church of Vaping has been with Damn Vape, reviewing their stuff, loving their products, all that kind of stuff. And he knew this guy was coming out and was so super excited. And for some odd reason, I don't know why, his name's Anton, I don't know why, he thinks I'm good at reviewing. So he asked them to send me one. So they sent him a couple, and he was supposed to send me one. And of course, man of his word, he sent it. So definitely shout out to Damn Vape and Church of Vaping for basically bring this review to you. But yeah, it is the Doom RTA X, or Doom X RTA. Now, you have seen this before technically, and what it was a little while ago. I would say probably getting close to a little over a year and a half, maybe, somewhere around in there. They did bring out that Doom RTA. I did not ever get a chance to look at the original Doom. Just by looking real quick, it does look like a completely separate entity, not just upgrades to the original Doom. But I do have that sitting on top of that stainless steel Lost Vape Gruss mod. Definitely shout out to one of TRV's subscribers. He sent me one of these in, I think, gunmetal. And yeah, ever since then, it's like if I want a different single battery mod to match with something, I go buy a Gruss. I can find them sometimes for like dirt cheap too, and it makes it even better. So this is not the drip tip that it comes with. This is one of the other boxes of drip tips I got. I don't know why I love playing with drip tips on devices, but it can change your flavor. It could tighten it, it can open it up, get your mouth away from it, all kinds of things. And this one works pretty well on it. The stock one did really well as well. With mesh specifically, I like real powerful pulls. So I wanted something a little further off, so I kind of had, I guess, distance, so I wasn't like just like right on top of it, just drawing the shit out of it. And of course, I'm running some Dark Star peach peach tangerine bubble gum in that. So shout out to Dark Star, and I would say shout out to Triple C Coils, my coil sponsor, but it's mesh. Sorry, man. But we're at a 0.13 running at 50 watts. Man, the juice and the mesh combination is amazing. So if you're not real familiar with rebuildable mesh, one of the things that I would have to give you a tip on is rebuildable mesh is really good for fruits and candies and the lighter stuff like that. Not so much for heavy desserts and you know, like custards, scones, peaches and cream, you know, stuff like that, real heavy stuff, because it doesn't get essentially hot enough. But for fruits and candies, pow, banging. So when I do rebuildable mesh, which isn't that often, I always stick to some kind of candy or very light fruit flavors. So, and that is, of course, with 2 holes out of the 3 holes open as well. So we're going to get really down and dirty with this thing, take a look at it, tear it all apart, give you some close-ups on some kind of interesting things going on the inside with that, for all that. But before we do that, every single time, guys, gals, it is hashtag ADHD awareness. It's a little segment I always do every single time because I had been diagnosed at age 40, and now I'm, of course, older than 40, with ADHD, and I do remember a lot of the stigmas as growing up as a child, and even now currently what my current child is kind of going through, and even some family that kind of gives him some stigmas to it. So really want to bring some awareness. So 2 things with that. One, if you haven't had the chance, go onto YouTube and Twitter and find How to ADHD. The lady there, Jessica Maccabee, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's Jessica. She started a channel years ago, and now luckily it's starting to really take off. So really super informative channel. I listen to it as much as I can. But it's just basically how to cope and how to deal with the disorder, because yes, it is a disorder, people. Okay, you know, most people, especially when I was growing up, were called stupid, lazy, you know, just dumb, you know, all this kind of stuff, because, you know, we just don't do things like normal people. Our brain doesn't work that way. So like I say on every TRV live show on Friday 7:30 Central on Spring UGA Girls channel, I just tell everybody, hey, if you find somebody with ADHD, don't automatically come to you're lazy or stupid. It's not a disorder. It is. It really freaking is. And just let them know, if you're a kind, caring person, that you know what? They're not stupid. They're not lazy. They're not broken. Their brain is just different. And different is freaking beautiful. Okay? Sorry for the camera shake, but a little passionate about that subject. Just a touch. But I'm ready. Are you ready? Yeah, I think we're ready. Let's go and drop the hammer on the Doom X. Alright, so what I got for you today is an RTA. It is going to be a mesh RTA. And this is straight from Damn Vape. Actually, it's from Church of Vaping, reviewer on YouTube, and Damn Vape. This is one of their samples here. And we're going to be talking about the Doom X. So, of course, on the side, you'll have Damn Vape, and on here, you'll have like the UPC and stuff like that that's not currently on here. And then, of course, that Doom X. And then on the back, you have your package contents right there. And it's going to highlight some different things too, like the 3D liquid juice flow control, and then the honeycomb airflow as well. 8 mil extension, all that kind of good stuff, and then all of their important information there. All right, so we'll get into the box next, and if you'll see, there is some condensation because I did take this apart and clean it as usual. A little push off to the side here. All right, so in the box, you're of course going to have your RTA. You're going to have a glass here. This is going to be for like your 8 mil, and then you'll have a bubble glass. But what we'll see in here, you'll also see on this glass, is something we'll go into a little more in depth here in just a moment, but you'll see these kind of like little lips. What that is that's part of the juice flow control. If you go with the bubble glass, as you'll notice, there isn't that. So you'll lose that capability of having that juice flow control. So again, we'll get into that in just a moment. All right, so in the box, you're going to get a pamphlet here. Just kind of shows you the different colors. You got gunmetal, you got stainless, you got black. And it also, of course, shows you the standard mode, the bubble glass, and then the extended 8 mil mode. You will get your user manual here. It's very quick and simple, couple steps here. Then you're going to get 2 packages. One package, of course, is going to be your cotton, and it's also going to be your mesh strips here. And your second package, which I've already opened up, so stuff wants to spill out, is your O-rings. You got the rubber here, you got some silicone. You have your chimney extension, your screwdriver, post screws, and this little tool to help you kind of open up the top here. And last but not least, this is going to be your mesh forming tool here. And I'll show you how to use that here in just a second. And then, of course, you have your tank. So your tank here, what you're going to see is up top, you do get one drip tip. This one's kind of like a smoked. And you do have a rubber O-ring up top. So this is basically just your standard non-O-ring or O-ringless 810 style drip tip here. And if you see really close, it does have a little bit of texture to it. It's not the big gnarly ones that leave a lot of lip crusties, but it's got a little bit of texture to it. It actually feels quite nice. And then your top fill is here, and it is a full turn situation here where you're gonna have to turn it full thread right through there. Big old kidney holes in there. And of course, you're going to see a lot of condensation and stuff like that because I did wash it. And then off to the side here, you're going to see your airflow control. It is just 3 holes. And it is a full stop one direction and full stop the other direction. Not a lot of, I guess, turn radius, which is nice. So you don't have to go all the way one half and all the way the other half. So that's pretty neat. And then on here, you'll see this. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's just decoration, or it's trying to tell you left and right, but it almost looks like a little, I don't know, like not stopwatch, but a sand timer. So I'm not sure. I think it's just for decoration. On the other side, you'll have, of course, Doom X right there. And you'll see here close. And if you go to the other side here, you'll see open there. And what that refers to, if you see right there, the juice flow control is right there. So if you turn the glass over to here, and there is, I don't know if it'll pick it up real well, there's like a little notch, because this isn't glass. I keep calling it glass. It's you know, it's like that polycarbonate material, kind of like Ultim, but the clear version. I can't think of it. PTEG but basically a polycarbonate. It's actually got, and it's not going to show real well. Oh, you can kind of see the edge there, but you'll see there's an edge in there that's kind of etched in there. Not really even etched, it's like carved in there. Same way with the other side. And in person, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But that's basically your grips. But if you see, it shows it's on close, and that whole section right there, that fill section, is completely taken and covered by this glass section. Now, if you turn it over to the open side here, just turn by grabbing a hold of that again. Now have it over to the open section, and now that's completely exposed. Turned it a little too far, but hey, there we go. Now it's completely open. So we'll get to that in just a second. I showed you a little bit on the other one, but show essentially how that works. So at the bottom, you have a very nicely knurled base deck. And then, of course, you'll have Doom X and then Damn Vape. And if you do, when you get a retail version, you'll probably have a serial number stamped somewhere down here. But again, this is a sample version. A very nicely protruding 510. Now, I personally will not use a mesh on a mech mod or hybrid safe mech mod. I just, for me, I just would never do it. Now, with that being said, is most everybody thinks that, hey, there's no 510 like slots, so you can take that out. This is not hybrid safe. This is not a floating 510. This is a solid 510. And it's, again, protruding, very, very protruding. I wish a lot of RTAs had that kind of protrusion. So it is hybrid mech mod safe. Again, I personally just don't use them because using that much power on your mesh, that's not going to be a good deal. So here's your base deck, and we'll go over that in just a moment. We'll keep tearing this down. On the inside, you will see you have your airflow is here off to the side. So it's just kind of a regular side airflow mesh. Probably not going to get a lot of huge differences in there when it comes to airflow. And then down here on this side, you'll see that is your juice flow. So as you'll see here, which I have it closed, it comes down each side there and just kind of basically dumps or drains into these right here. One thing you'll see a little different that I thought was really neat when I was cleaning this and looking at is that Ultim piece up there. It's basically got kind of like a honeycomb to it, and basically it's kind of like a what I would call a condension chamber, kind of like how you see the Asgards is a good example, how it has that Ultim piece to not only condense the chamber but also direct the airflow to the coils better. This one is just going to condense the chamber, kind of like also on Steamgrave, how some of their mesh stuff has that chamber reducer, or theirs is a chimney reducer that you throw down in there. Thought that was kind of neat. I did kind of pull and pry and was gentle with it. That does not come out, so it's probably a very nice tight press fit of that Ultim in there. Start unscrewing this guy. I'll show you how that works. First off, again, very easy, simple on how the juice flow control works. Comes down through there and out in there. But where this is, this takes, and when you have these tabs twisted in the right direction, it will literally close those off so no more juice can get down in there. Turn it the other way though, and now it allows those to be open. And this is also where, if you wanted to, you could throw on that extension piece. And again, this is probably reminiscent of some other companies out there that do this. Very, very simple but effective way of how to increase your capacity without having to change a whole lot of stuff out. So you would put that extender on there, and now you can put the tall glass on there. Take that off there. There we go. And it's pretty easy. Sometimes people say, well, which end goes where on some RTAs? Because sometimes there is a difference. It's really easy with this one to figure it out. Notches on the bottom. Super, super easy. So this will put you in big, tall boy mode. So yeah, there we go. All right, so we'll put this on a build stand here. A little shout out to Bearded Viking Customs. Make some killer stands there. All right, so on the deck, you're going to see they are a Phillips head screw on each side, of course. And then you'll see basically your positive side is going to be right here. You got a little peak insulator right there. And then, of course, you have your center cushion, ceramic, 510, whatever you want to call that, your cotton pusher. But it's just a ceramic piece like you've seen on other mesh RTAs, even some RDAs, where you have that little middle section there that pushes down. Now you do have an adjustable height there to that pin. Most of the time, I don't think I've ever adjusted or played with those, so I would suggest probably not to. Mostly what that's going to be for is if that spring down there gets broken or loses tension, you can unscrew that, take the block off, and then that'll allow you to put in a new screw. But you can also see through there is where that peak insulator runs to make this side positive. Mesh is pretty easy. Don't really have to worry about a positive and a negative if you're running the mesh. It looks like you could run a single coil in here, but normally if I do that, I'm not going to mess with a mesh rebuildable device. I'll put in a single coil, something else. So what we're seeing here though is, I said, Phillips head and spring loaded, so that's good stuff there. That's one thing that I really disliked about some rebuildable mesh devices is when you unscrew it and they stay there and you got to kind of flop one in, try to get the mesh in there and then flop the other end, and sometimes it would pop out one end and the other. It's kind of a big old pain. So cool that you got some spring loaded here. And then of course your wicking channels are right through here. And like it even shows in the manual, this is a pretty plain forward, simple RTA to basically wick up. You're going to do your normal wick method, throw it in there. But where it's going to be different is you don't want your cotton on this ledge at all. So it goes in just a bit. So we're going to put the cotton in. We're not going to fluff it out, flounce it out. We're just going to kind of bend it so it goes straight down in there. And of course, trim off some of the edges as well, so it's not so big and bulky over there. But like they tell you in the manual, it's pretty simple. They say just push it through there, cut pretty much here, and then let them go straight down. So we'll bend the mesh, we'll actually wick it, and I'll show you kind of what I do with the wicking is I wet it as well to kind of mold it into spaces. So we'll do that, and we'll take and get it all buttoned up and finished up, and we'll come back up and we'll vape on it, and I'll give you my thoughts on the Doom X Mesh RTA. Yeah. All right. So back up on top with the Doom X RTA. So one of the most unique features I had seen on this, everything else I'm not going to say has been done. It's boring, whatever. There is a lot of stuff that's been done. So when it comes to actual innovation, the way it works, so on and so forth, there really isn't a lot essentially going on with this RTA. It kind of works just like any other RTA. But, whoa, there are two huge innovation differences. One is your juice flow control. So with that, most, I do a lot of steam crave stuff. Theirs is pretty simple. It's just kind of like I'd almost call it like a gate system or siphon system, whatever you want to call it. But basically, it's two sheets of metal, both have cutouts, but as you turn, it opens and closes it. So very simple system, works really well. So, some people are like, why don't you try something different, Steam Crave? Don't. It works beautifully. Don't fix it if it's not broke, right? This one's a little different. It uses basically the glass section, which not glass, but polycarbonate, to basically seal off or open up those juice flow channels. So really inventive idea. We'll get into pros and cons, but specifically that one I'm going to say is going to be both, and we'll get to that. But that Ultim condension condenser, that Ultim like condenser or almost top cap thing works really well, because I know there's a lot of people out there that with rebuildable mesh, they either have one of two issues ultimately almost every single time. One is it doesn't get hot enough. Pretty much kind of the same on this, but that's just mesh in general. There are things you can do to change that. So it's not really so much of the device, it is the mesh. You can go out there and buy spools, especially from like Vape, of the NI80 mesh. You can even get stainless steel mesh, because I guess that's a third tangent, is people don't want to deal with these because of the fireball aspect. What I tell those people, go get some Vape stainless steel mesh, put that guy in there, and then put your mod in temperature control. Boom, instant fix. And the nice thing is you can also start getting some really good notes out of heavy desserts in the temperature control, because instead of going up and down wattage or voltage, you're actually messing with the heat. So that 400 degrees, 420, 460, you can actually make some of those things kind of pop. But the other one would be, it kind of not really has a muted flavor, but you have to make sure that nothing is touching anything. Like you don't even get usually close to that mesh. And so they did something like, hey, you know what? We're going to get closer by putting that Ultim in there. And it does work. It makes it pop even more than the other mesh RTAs and RDAs that I've tried. So Flavor Pro, it's doing really, really well. Now, granted, I did not put the stainless in there to try a dessert flavor. I've been doing a lot of fruits. So like I did double apple candy in this from Dark Star. I'm on the peach tangerine bubblegum. So a lot of fruits, but again, I just know that I won't care for dessert on a mesh. So, but feel free to try that. So definitely pro on flavor. Design, it's nice, it's clean, it looks great. The knurling on the bottom, amazing. Airflow control, 3 holes, really can't go wrong with that kind of AFC. Nothing wrong with it at all, especially with mesh. Don't need a lot of fine control. Build, super easy. Nice little spring-loaded clamps in there. I do have the Steam Crave mesh in there now. They have a specific mesh that's a split mesh. I didn't get a close-up on that. Sorry about that, guys. But it looks like one single strip of mesh, but then there's like a cut in the middle, like so it's split. That helped it a little bit more as well. I do know they do have a mesh I really want to try at Damn Vape's site, and it's like I'll show a picture up here. It's like Mesh 05. It's this really cool Y or triangle looking cutout mesh. So definitely want to try that. So we'll start getting into prices and stuff on that too later. So cons. I really essentially only have one real con. It's literally how you adjust that juice flow control. And the main reason why, since it is a polycarbonate, not a glass, it tends to, if you get any kind of juice on here whatsoever, it just like gets so super slick that I feel like when I go to adjust it, sometimes it's actually kind of cranking it down harder on the mod. So it really messes, in my head at least, it's like, well, maybe that's putting a little undue strain on the 510 and on the mod. So you could do one or two things to alleviate that. One is, of course, I have it in the shorter mode. The extension mode's the same way. You could just run the bubble glass. But kind of side effect of that, if you use the bubble glass, you lose your juice flow control. So it just takes some time to fiddle with and really kind of play with it. But I'll tell you right out of the box, and probably for the first week or two you have it, that'll probably freak you out a little bit if you're really conscious about how tight you have stuff on your mod. So, but like I said, just keep playing with it, be very nice and gentle, and eventually you'll just you'll get into it. The little notches in there, you'll use those more than anything to turn it. So it works really well. So that's why I say it's a pro and a con. But, price-wise, looking at $35.99, $37.99. I looked real quickly on it. I only found it at Damn Vape's store, and because it's not technically released yet. It's supposed to release at the very end of December. We're now in the first couple days into January. So there might have just been delay because of Christmas, holidays, stuff like that. So here probably really soon you should be able to see them in most distribution places. So yeah. So basically $35, for I would say probably one of the best mesh RTAs to try. Definitely worth it. If you're into mesh, definitely get it. Even if you're not into mesh, you just want to try something different, something pretty simple to build and to make your fruits and candies pop, I would say definitely go get it. But also, if you're not that versed into mesh, start watching some reviews on mesh. I know I have several. I have, of course, now this, like the Profile RTA, Profile RDA, stuff like that. I know Spring has some mesh reviews out there. And of course, there's other reviewers out there that deal with mesh. So definitely kind of dive in some hours of mesh reviews to really kind of get versed in it, and then have fun. And of course, then come ask any questions to me if you want, if you're watching this. So, but yeah, totally worth it. Super sexy setup on a stainless. If you like stainless, they have black, they have gunmetal. So 3 different, almost said flavors. Yeah, 3 different metal flavors or colors available for you. So yeah, definitely, I would say go run out and grab it. Got some cool innovation and doing really well for a mesh RTA. But that is. That's all I got on that. So I definitely want to give a good shout out again to, of course, Darkstar, all my sponsors, E&B, Triple C, Team Asylum, Shy Tots, all you people. Love you guys. You make it so I can actually do what I'm doing. But also thank you to the TRV Discord people, patrons, keeping me and Spring doing what we're doing as well. But huge shout out to Church of Vaping and, of course, Damn Vape. So thank you so much. Was definitely an amazing experience playing with this thing, and it will definitely be something I keep in rotation. So. But that is all I got today for the Doom X RTA. Just want to thank each and every one of you yet again for coming to Vape with a Viking, and I'll check you later.